China has solved a problem plaguing it for thousands of years. For the first time in its civilizational history, China has wiped out extreme poverty on its lands. Now, in doing so, it has now lifted over 850 million people out of poverty since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949, and nearly 100 million people in just the last 9 years alone. It also makes China the first country in the world to end absolute poverty. Now, given the scale of China's population, this achievement means the country has accounted for more than 70% of the world's poverty alleviation efforts. But behind these massive numbers is a Herculean effort of unity, sacrifice, and coordination to raise up one individual at a time, one family at a time, one village at a time, and one poverty-stricken county at a time, making sure that no one is left behind. Now, in the past decade or so, China's poverty eradication efforts have intensified as the last mile of poverty reduction proved to be the most difficult as well as the most stubborn to tackle. The last mile is the hardest to reach places, for example, such as villages on mountaintops or sparsely populated areas engulfed by desert and sandstorms. These are places in China where poverty has long extended an unyielding grip on generation after generation, century after century. And to meet the challenge of lifting those hardest to reach out of poverty and to really push the country's poverty eradication efforts to the next level, President Xi Jinping put forward for the first time in 2013 what's called targeted poverty alleviation. This is a systematic and holistic approach that answers the questions: who to target for poverty relief, who should go and conduct poverty relief, and how to conduct poverty relief. It's also a customized approach that develops an action plan for poor households based on their unique and local conditions. Now, China has introduced a set of criteria that must be met before someone can be officially declared out of extreme poverty. Namely, not having to worry about hunger, not having to worry about adequate clothing, and is enjoying access to compulsory education, basic health care, and a proper home. There was also a massive undertaking to create a detailed national registration system to properly identify those in need of help. As the saying goes, you can't manage what you don't measure. Now, after knowing who to help, the government then mobilized its cadres to go to the front lines of poverty-stricken areas, to live there, to guide and implement poverty relief measures. Since 2012, China has selected and sent more than 3 million cadres to impoverished villages to battle poverty directly. Then comes the how of tackling poverty. Now, China employed a myriad of ways and combination of ways to do this. For example, it could be about building up a local industry, focusing on growing crops unique to that locale, then using e-commerce and the over 1 million kilometers of newly built roads in previously infrastructure-poor areas to then sell these products across the country. It could also be about matching someone in a poverty-stricken village with a job in a wealthier city or province. Over 20 million new jobs were created for those in poverty between 2015 to 2020. And it could be about developing the local tourism industry to bring demand into poorer but often picturesque areas. Now, we can't go through every single measure with you in detail during this video, but take a look on your screen. It's not an exhaustive list, but feel free to pause and take a closer look at these targeted measures to fight poverty. But just because China has stamped out extreme poverty, it doesn't mean the country is now resting on its laurels. China wants to make sure that those out of poverty stay out. Now, that's why a key part of the country's new development stage will now focus on what's called rural revitalization. So this strategy aims to reinforce the outcomes achieved in China's quest to eradicate poverty. It seeks to improve the quality, the efficiency, and competitiveness of agriculture while deepening rural reforms and enhancing the integrated development of urban and rural areas. This is a key part, again, of the country's new development stage, as China has said that without a modern agriculture and farming sector, there cannot be a modernized China overall. So, from poverty eradication to now rural revitalization, at its core, China's fight against poverty is about people-centered development. It's not just about providing people with poverty relief, but crucially, providing those in need with the tools, skills, and environment to break the poverty trap and stand up by themselves.